Everybody in this room has this unique opportunity to live out your dream. And the journey that we're about to go on is going to be a hard journey. We're going to be challenged at every turn. The expectations are going to be high. The standards are going to be high. The accountability is going to be high. I make a pledge to you. Our staff makes a pledge to you. Make a pledge to yourself and to each other. We'll hold ourselves and each other accountable to those standards.
It's time for a Thanksgiving weekend edition of the Jason Garrett Show, powered by Reliant Energy. Bill Jones along with Cowboys head coach Jason Garrett as we are here at AT&T Stadium taping this show after the Chargers game, a 28-6 win for the Chargers over the Cowboys. And Jason, us in the aftermath of this game, what are your thoughts on where this team is right now?
Well, we got it to battle back and fight through some of the adversity that we've had. Obviously, the last 3 weeks have been disappointing. In each of those games, we had good opportunities at halftime and just didn't play very well in the second half. And so that'll be a big point of emphasis for us, as it's been to play for 60 minutes. And we just got to find a way to do that. So we got to regroup quickly. We play next Thursday night. I think we have the right kind of guys to do that.
Obviously, Phillip Rivers, who's one of the all-time greats, was on his game in this one, 434 yards passing. Puts a lot of pressure on a defense in a variety of ways.
Yeah, he's a great football player, has been for a long time. He's a great competitor. He's a very talented passer. They have a lot of weapons, and they used them. I thought we did a good job slowing the run down, but obviously they were able to be very effective moving the football through the air. He made a lot of little plays in the game, a lot of completions that kept drives alive, but then he made some big plays. The receivers did a good job making the play and making some runs after the catch as well. So they did a great job staying on the field, mostly through the passing game. We didn't do a good enough job offensively staying on the field and sustaining our own drives.
And Keenan Allen is probably at the top of his game right now. He's coming off a game in which he had 12 catches, a couple of touchdowns, had a similar game. What are some of the things that they do with him, even formation-wise, that allows him to have the success that they
Again, he's just a really talented player. He's versatile. He can play a lot of different spots, and he and Phillip just have a real rapport going right now. So he can run any route. He's a big target, and again, they have a really good feel for each other right now, and it's showing up in their performance week in and week out.
You know, there was a point in this game in the third quarter after they'd gone up 9-0, and Dak scores on the 34-yard run, gets called back, a holding call on Tyron. Did that deflate the team at all at that point? What are your thoughts on that little scenario?
Obviously, it would have been a big play for us, 9-7 at that point. And you go out there and you try to get a stop on defense, and you're in striking distance in the game. But that was one play of many plays in this game. The most challenging part of that is it became a longer third down situation. Unfortunately, we didn't convert it. We had to punt, and they did a good job driving down and scoring.
And when you look at Dak, who's having to play from behind, as he has the last couple of weeks, in that situation in the game, it's a different landscape for a quarterback than when you're playing ahead in a game, right?
Yeah, no question about it. You don't want to be in a situation where you have to drop back and throw it time and time again, particularly against that front. They have some good rushers in Bosa and Ingram. They get around the quarterback a lot. So you want to be balanced. You want to have a good mix throughout the game. We did get behind later on in the second half, and we had to throw the ball more. We're in a 2-minute situation. Not the best situation for any quarterback. I thought he battled well.
All right, we're just getting started here on the Jason Garrett Show. Up next, I'll be joined by David Moore of the Dallas Morning News.
The Jason Garrett Show, presented by Reliant, is brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world. Ford is the best in Texas. The Salvation Army, doing the most good. The University of North Texas, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by Reliant, an NRG company. This segment is brought to you by the Dallas Morning News. Nobody does sports like Sports Day. Your home for complete Dallas Cowboys coverage.
And welcome back to the Jason Garrett Show, powered by Reliant Energy. Now joined by David Moore of the Dallas Morning News, SportsDayDFW.com after this 28-6 loss. And David, at halftime of this game, it was just a 3-0 game. And Rick Goslin of your staff of the Dallas Morning News came to me and said, I said last year that Ezekiel Elliott was the MVP not only of this team but of the league, and I stand by that. How much does this team miss Zeke?
And it showed again. I mean, the numbers in these 3 games during his suspension, there is no other objective measure. It's been huge, and other guys have not stepped up, starting with Dak Prescott. And Dak acknowledged that after this game. he said, look, this is about individual pride. No one wants to say we can't get something done because one player is not on this team anymore. That's the way you approach it, but to this stage, it's undeniable. And you're talking about the first half of the game. In the second half of these 3 losses, Dallas has been outscored 72-6. I know a lot of people will say it's coaching, it's this, it's that. You don't get outscored 72-6 and it's just a coaching issue. You're getting overwhelmed individually, and players aren't stepping up and executing to the level that they need to win in this league.
Putting more pressure on the offense and more pressure on Prescott is the fact that the defense isn't making any stops whatsoever here the last couple of games.
No, but again, I will say this. One, this team is built to win offensively. The money of this team, the draft emphasis has been on the offense. That is how you win games with this team. I believe the defense has been competitive by and large in the first half of these games, but they're not able to sustain it. And that is what you're seeing. And there were 8 plays of 20 or more yards that the defense gave up in this game. That's more than they've given up all season. They're starting to break down a little bit, as you can see here.
All right, what about the team? Is the team starting to break down from a mental standpoint?
It's hard to look at being outscored 72-6 in the second half of games and saying that they're not starting to break down. I know no one has said that, but it's hard to come to any other conclusion at this point. They still have games left to get this back, and I think this team plays hard. It does play with a lot of pride, but it has very little confidence right now and no margin of error. And the longer the game goes on, the more other teams are exerting their control, and Dallas just isn't able to respond.
But you were in there, you listened to Dak Prescott in his post-game press conference, and that guy exudes confidence even after a 28-6 loss.
Oh, he does, and he exuded it coming into this game. Now, how often can you continue to do that if you have these same results? You know, Dallas has now lost games by 20 or more points, 3 consecutive games. That's only happened 2 other times in franchise history. You go back to 2004 when Bill Parcells was the coach, and you go back to the first season in 1960.
All right, David Moore, we appreciate it. Up next here on the Jason Garrett Show, Vicki Spagnola joins us, and we'll hear from Alfred Morris.
This segment was brought to you by the Dallas Morning News. Nobody does sports like Sports Day. Your home for complete Dallas Cowboys coverage.
Welcome back to the Jason Garrett Show, powered by Reliant Energy. Bill Jones now joined by Vicki Spagnola here at AT&T Stadium after this 28-6 loss to the Chargers. And Vicki, my first question to you is, what is your takeaway from this?
I'm telling you, this is like epic struggle on offense for the Dallas Cowboys. Over these last 3 games, they've failed to score no more than 9 points. Not going to win a lot of games like that. They haven't been able to score touchdowns, 2 touchdowns in this 3-game losing streak. Can't win that way. 22 total points in the 3-game losing streak. Can't win that way. And Bill, I quickly went back through the record books, and I can't find 3 games in a row where the Dallas Cowboys failed to score at least 10 points in their history. 0-11-1 in 1960, they scored points. 1-15 in 1989, they scored points. But they're just struggling to sustain drives, and then when the defense is giving up 515 yards, you don't have that many possessions, right?
That's exactly right.
The Chargers had 12 more minutes of time of possessions.
Well, Mickey had the courage to go into the Cowboys locker room after this game, and he caught up with Alfred Morris.
3 games in a row, it's getting frustrating. The offense just can't get going.
I was getting very frustrated, you know, like, because we have the talent, we have the capability to go out there and put up, you know, 30, 40, 50 points, but we're just not doing that. So, and then we can't really find an answer as to why not, you know, other than we're not finishing drives, but that's not really an answer, nor is it a solution, you know, but we have to find a way. We have to go back to the drawing board and figure out what's going on, what's changed, you know, if anything, and go out and execute, you know, and when we're executing, I feel like we get in our own way, but when we're not in our own way, then we're doing very well. So it's kind of tough, and it can be very frustrating.
And you're in the games at halftime, 3 in a row, right? You're not that far off the pace, and it just kind of gets away from you.
Yeah, and I feel like that goes back to offensively. I mean, I put it on us. You know, people may argue that, but this is my opinion. I put it on us because the defense do a heck of a job. You know, they keep them off the scoreboard, they keep getting us the ball back, and we're not doing anything with it. You know, so then we come out in halftime and we kind of do the same thing, and eventually it kind of just takes off on us, and then you get behind on the scoreboard and it gets harder to catch back up. So, I mean, this has been very unfortunate. It's been 3 weeks in a row, so we can't do this again. We have to find a way.
And you have you don't have a long break now after Thanksgiving as normal.
No.
You got to get ready to go again.
We do. So, I mean, we got to find a way, like I said. I mean, I know I keep saying that, but it's true. So, we had a quick turnaround this week, and now we have, it's like a normal week. It's kind of skewed. The days are a little skewed for us, but at the same time, we have to show up. We have to, work hard. We have to learn from these past 3 games, really. We have to figure out what's the problem and find a solution and implement that, and just come out next week and figure it out against the Redskins.
Kind of hard to enjoy Thanksgiving with this.
Yeah, it is hard. It's just definitely bittersweet. I mean, but at the same time, it's just part of it. So we live and we learn.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And Alfred Morris had 36 yards on 9 carries. Used Rod Smith more this game, 41 yards on 9 carries. So
and
where's
his first touchdown, too,
That's exactly right, his first touchdown. Obviously, the team misses Ezekiel Elliott.
Yes.
They are able to get some yards on the ground, though.
But they moved it on the ground. What they're not able to do, Bill, is sustain drives. And I think you heard the frustration in Alfred Morris talking about, it seems like we're doing well, but we're not getting anywhere. And then you get in desperation mode late. Dak's throwing the ball, gets picked off because he's running out of the pocket. He only got sacked twice, so that was an improvement, by the way. But he got chased far too many times. Tried to force one to Beasley, gets returned for a touchdown, got caught by a robber defense who got underneath that pass for the second interception. But they've got to figure out how to move the football without Ezekiel Elliott. And look, that's when this happened, right? They had won 3 in a row till the suspension occurred, and now they've lost 3 in a row. And he's got 3 more games to serve a suspension, and you've got to start winning. Otherwise, you've lost touch with even a wild card bid.
And the defense has got to start getting stops.
Yeah, and they're the 12, when I mentioned before, 12 minutes more of possession time the Chargers had. They just can't get off the field. They didn't get a sack. So
Chunk plays on 3rd down today.
Right, and they were trying to play zone. And they didn't play it very well. By the way, 1 sack in the last 3 games. The 3 previous games during the winning streak, they had 11 sacks. So they're not getting pressure on the quarterback. And when Phillip Rivers has time of day in the pocket, you saw what can happen.
All right, Vicki Spagnola, we appreciate it. And up next here on the Jason Garrett Show, the coach rejoins me. We take a look ahead to the Washington Redskins. Next up very quickly next Thursday. It's time to look ahead to next week's game, a Thursday game again against the Redskins. Will McClay is here. Talk about these Redskins who also played on Thursday night. And how important is that quarterback, Kirk Cousins, to this Redskins?
The quarterback is the guy that runs the whole thing. They've had a lot of injuries, and so they've depended on him. He doesn't get enough credit for his athleticism and what they do. So what they're doing here is they're going 13 personnel, 1, 2, 3 tight ends, make them think it's a run. Now they're going to play action. You'll see the athleticism. But they're going to use routes to put routes in the quarterback's face. This guy's going to be the target. But now you can watch him roll and throw an accurate throw. Here he is. There's the boot. He's got his shoulder square. He throws an accurate throw to the sideline where no one is, and they get a big chunk play.
Easy as that. There's a big chunk play. Now Kirk Cousins against the Saints last week, and wow, what a game that was. They blew a 15-point lead in the 4th quarter. What a play this was.
Yes, and the big thing about it is they're going to go a total blitz. They're going to rush everybody. You can see the Redskins have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys to protect. The Saints are going to bring 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys. So they're making the quarterback account for it. He has to see it. Now we're going to show the pressure in his face and the poise first, and then I'm going to show you a quick sideline view of the throw. Here we go. We roll it. He hangs in there for the last minute. 3 guys hit him, spots an open wide receiver. Now you're going to take a look at it, and how did he see it? He waited for the last minute, but you'll see it go. These 2 guys are stacked. He's going to look for 2 defenders. They both take the short guy, and for him to be able to see it under this pressure is impressive. Go ahead and roll it. There it goes. He's holding the last minute. There's a wide open receiver. He can't even see it. Throws it to a spot. That's poise in the pocket. That's the guy that runs this offense.
And that was courage in the pocket too, wasn't it?
No question.
Yeah, I mean, it's pride. If you're turning and trying to, you point your finger at the reason we're not having success is another guy or this or that, then you're not going to get it in this league. So I mean, the last thing I'm doing is pointing the finger and saying we need this guy, we need that to happen. As I said, we've got to figure out what's going on and get out of this funk.
And our thanks to Will McClay, as usual. He was there in the Academy Sports and Outdoor Studios at the Star. Bill Jones now joined by Jason Garrett here as we recap things after this loss to the Chargers and look ahead to the Redskins. And it's a normal work week for the team this week. In fact, they report back on Sunday morning, which is like a regular Wednesday morning, right?
Yeah, Thursday to Thursday, just like Sunday to Sunday. So got to put this one behind us as quickly as we can. You learn from it. You build on whatever was good in the game, and you correct the other things and get back to work. You know, the Redskins will be here next Thursday night.
And the way Kirk Cousins is playing, it's very similar to some of the offenses you've been seeing.
Yeah, again, they challenge you a lot of different ways. He's playing at a very high level. They have a lot of weapons offensively, so we got to make sure we slow down their run and keep those receivers in check as best we can.
You know, after a game like this, as you address things and go forward into the next week, how do you approach it as a coaching staff, finding the positive things that you can, well, you have the negative things obviously, but also positive things that you have going forward to coach this team up for the next game?
You know, it's a challenge, but the thing you try to do after every game is evaluate the game as objectively as possible, independent of what the final score is. And you really just look at the players on each play and see how they did and see what the issues were that we have to get corrected and see some of the positive things and hopefully continue to build on those. So that's our challenge as a coaching staff. When our players come back in on Sunday morning, just get back to work and move forward.
Sean Lee's been out the last several weeks. A veteran signing of Justin Durant in the offseason I thought was a key signing. He really showed up in this game. I thought he was very active.
Yeah, and that's been his role since he's been with us. You know, to play if Sean's not able to play. And again, he's a veteran player. He's around the ball a lot. He's a very instinctive guy. And you know, I think he shows his leadership in Sean's absence. So a good football player, we're fortunate to have him.
We talked a little bit about Dak earlier, and I want to ask you about Dak and Dez and the combination. He had a very nice back shoulder throw to Dez, and Dez wins those 50-50 balls so often. How big of a challenge, though, is it to be able to complete those in the game? And from a quarterback's perspective, Dak doesn't look open on those plays. Is it a challenge for Dak to understand, okay, Dez is open on that play?
Yeah, you know, and those guys they've had a really positive rapport together and really over their time playing together. I mean, Dez has been a very productive receiver for us since Dak has been our quarterback. And you mentioned it, you know, one of the things Dez does as well as anybody on the planet is you go and get a football, you know, in a contested catch type situation. So I thought Dak did a really good job giving him a chance on one of the back shoulders along our sidelines. Dez did a great job going up there and getting it. So you keep banging away and you keep giving those guys opportunities, and hopefully they make some plays for it.
All right, we will wrap up the Jason Garrett Show in just a moment. Final couple of minutes of the Jason Garrett Show, powered by Reliant Energy. We are here at AT&T Stadium. Bill Jones along with Cowboys head coach Jason Garrett. This is the segment we have each week where I recognize an unsung star. And this one, she, like all the weeks, she's not unsung in the eyes of anyone in the organization. And by the way, outside the organization. But hats off to Charlotte Jones-Anderson and what she does, not only on a year-round basis, but especially here on Thanksgiving Day, the relationship that the Cowboys have on a national stage with the Salvation Army and the halftime performance, which you never are able to see, but what a job that Charlotte has done.
Yeah, Charlotte's something else. She's just a rare person. She's a Renaissance woman. She does so much for so many different people in her life, and she's just a really impressive person and such a warm-hearted person, and certainly incredibly capable. She has a lot of different jobs in our organization, and she does them as well as anybody. And she has such a determination to do things at the highest level. And to have her in charge of this, you know, Thanksgiving halftime and her relationship with the Salvation Army, it's really special for all of us. And she just does an incredible job. And you know, I'm fortunate to call her a friend, and we're certainly fortunate to have her in the role that she is in the organization. She's something else.
And the partnership the Cowboys have had with the Salvation Army, thanks to Charlotte, lasting 20 years plus now. Jason, we appreciate it. Good luck next week against the Redskins.
Happy Thanksgiving, Bill.
And happy Thanksgiving to you and all of you out there as well. And we will see you again next week right here on the Jason Garrett Show.
The Jason Garrett Show, presented by Reliant, was brought to you by Ford. Ford is the best in Texas. Bank of America, the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Susan G. Komen, reminding you that early detection saves lives. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. and by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full access to coaches' films and game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. Subscribe at DallasCowboys.com/Game Pass.